All right. Hey, welcome everybody on this fine Monday morning. This is Clayton, Pederson, and Jamie Brecht guest hosting today from Top Now. We also went live on Guns at 7:01. So if you want to get into that, our followers that know about this, go for it. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, let's start off right away. We want to right away thank Brandon at Man End Sporting Goods. He's the sponsor for the show today. I'm not sure that we have him on air just yet, but I'm hoping that we'll get him on here and talk a little bit about what's going on with the ATF. I know that he's probably got some letters lately.
Yeah, I'll bet he did.
And we also want to thank our sponsors. Big Boy, I went through last time I was in town. I thought, I'm going to go over there. And I was not disappointed. So,
I haven't been either.
The icon here in Bismarck, Mandan. And of course, Dvorak Motors, where your family for a lifetime and Hit Incorporated. So here we are, Monday, Gun Day. We're back filling in for Steve. And I want to thank Steve for having us in again.
Right on.
And doing this. And I guess, what do you want to start with today, Jay?
Well, what I'd like to start with is the singing Fargo, the school board.
Okay. Just one quick thing is, hey, Randy, do we need to get Brandon online? So we'll let Randy take care of that. Let's talk a little bit about
Okay. Yeah. So anybody that hasn't seen it or heard about it, the Fargo school board voted 7-2 to not say the Pledge of Allegiance at their meetings.
So we have 7 communists on that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And which I'm going to get to real shortly, but somebody else agrees with that too. John Rich from Big and Rich was doing a concert. I don't know if it was Friday or something, but it was in West Fargo.
Red River Valley Fair.
Yeah, I think it was something like that. And so he led the whole audience before he started singing and to say the Pledge of Allegiance, which was great. And then right after that, he called the Fargo school board a bunch of communists, which if you don't want the Pledge of Allegiance,
it's just like tearing down a flag or anything that is unpatriotic. I'm sorry, if you're in those positions, you've got problems.
Well, why do you live here if you don't want it then?
I've been saying that when I hear a liberal come up to me, and they do sometimes, they know who I am, they know who you are, and start talking about, we got to get rid of guns, we got to get rid of this. I'm like, how about this? Rather than going through all that work to change our country, just pick the country you like with those things and move to it. Why don't you move?
Pretty simple, right?
Pretty simple, isn't it?
Oh, it's because we're such knuckle draggers. We need to be taught the right way and what everything's supposed to be like.
Yeah, well,
yeah, ultimately.
Simple. I mean, you look at what's been happening. Everyone says you got enough content to go every week, like we've been doing on our show. There's plenty of content going.
Yeah, we're not going to run short. And
I flipped on the news this morning. I like watching Real America's Voice. It's probably one of my favorite news sources today because it's really real. And they were talking today about FBI raids, the ATF, and what it's been doing to FFL dealers and closing them down. And I know we're going to touch on a lot of that yet this morning. So
I had to get a message here that you're kind of hard to hear over the airwaves.
Oh, I am.
There you go. Oh, I think that was.
Is that a little better?
Yeah, it's even in my ears, it's way better. Thanks, Austin. Appreciate that.
maybe it was better than they didn't have to hear me.
Yeah. So the John Rich thing, somebody's wondering how does that pertain to Second Amendment rights? Well, Tamara Usselman, who's the head of Fargo's diversity something or another,
another position that shouldn't exist.
Yeah, ridiculous. They sent a letter to the Florida school district about, because they lied and said, don't say gay. You can say gay. That's not what the law was about, that DeSantis. But they invited them to come on up here because we don't say the pledge anymore. And we got all kinds of diversity training. But guess what? I'll tell you what, all, if not every single one of them people that they want up here, they're anti-Second Amendment, just like they're anti-America.
If you don't like the pledge and you don't like God and you don't like our Constitution, yes, them people are not on our side.
No.
They hate this country as it is. And again, like we were just talking about, then leave. If you hate this country, leave.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
And show me anybody other than you. Everybody has the same rights and freedoms we do here, Clayton.
Absolutely. And you don't have like when they start talking about religion and overstepping, you don't have the right from religion. You have the right to freely worship. You have the freedom of religion, not the freedom from it. If you're offended by it, too bad. It's kind of like we have the freedom of speech, the right to free speech. You don't have the right from speech. Somebody else's speech, they always use this example, you holler fire in a crowded theater. Well,
which actually went to the Supreme Court, and you can do it, but
I was just going to say that was actually overturned, and you can do it.
Yeah.
So that argument isn't a legitimate one. Again, it's free speech. You don't have I can go up there and call you every name in the book, and there's nothing that says that I can not say that.
Which one of the amendments says you have a right to not be offended?
None.
None.
Kind of like the right to abortion. It don't exist, obviously.
Right.
This was just a state, but yet they want to take away an actual right. It is in the Constitution, which is the second. So,
yeah.
Well, I'm guessing we have Brandon online here now. Hey, Brandon, can you hear us? Do we have you, Brandon?
Yep, I'm here.
Well, good morning. How we doing?
We're doing all right. How you doing?
Oh, well, it was a beautiful drive up here today. Had a lot of kind of like a little fog, I suppose, from the humidity in the air. But yeah, it was a nice, pleasant drive up, and just glad to be here again, having some fun.
There you go.
It's been a while since we talked.
Yeah.
So I am betting. Well, first of all, we got to get to the main business. Mandan Sporting Goods, main sponsor of Monday Gun Day. And do we have anything going on in the shop? Like I said, it's been a while, so I got to be refreshed.
Yep.
It has been, but there's been, let's put it this way, not much going on coming in wise, more going out, and really nothing to talk about.
Oh, well, I got a question. Have you seen either sales or requests, of course, for AR-15s and things like that with all of the talk that's going on?
I've been saying this for years, and I probably shouldn't even say this on the air, but we're so pro-gun up here that it doesn't really phase. I mean, no, I have not.
Okay, so there's not
maybe
the mad rush.
Maybe transferred a few in, but I believe in my heart that I just don't think nobody thinks that. I mean, they can't get nothing done out there anyway. And I think everybody around here realizes that. But
That could be.
Well, we'll find out because it passed the House. We'll see what happens in the Senate. I think they need 60 votes in the Senate, though. And
1808 House resolution did pass in the House of Representatives, but it's got to clear the 60 vote threshold in the Senate, unless they change the rules.
Yeah,
that's what they like.
They
to
could.
do.
They're they sense they're going to be in trouble this fall. Maybe they are. They're not. I'm not totally convinced of that, but they might.
The Senate, I don't trust them
when
much
when you corner a rat, they do some crazy things.
Yes, they do. They fight back. Just got to have a big.
And when did they actually pass that?
It was here the end of July.
Yeah,
I remember right.
Like July 22nd or something.
See, and that's what I thought. And that's, I swear to you guys, I get a lot of my customers that come in, and that's I got part-time gunsmith that only works for me on Friday, like every other Saturday. And he comes in and it's the same thing. He's like, I can't believe we have any ARs left. I just can't believe. And people come in, they say the same thing, but it's like, well, then either number one, why aren't you buying one? Or maybe they already got one. Or I just don't know. I mean,
it's hard to say. I
have not seen that uptick though at all.
You look at like Jamie and I mean, I know that we have a good supply. Let's just put it that way. So I mean, but when I walk in, it's like, oh, that one kind of tickles my fancy, and of course I got to have it. So, but I don't think everybody's like that.
I think most people who want an AR probably have purchased one in the last, how many Obama trying everything and then buy it in. And I think most people that want them have them. I mean, some of my relatives who never had them, they were even calling me, what should I get? And, I said, hey, get one. Oh, should I wait till they're cheaper? I'm like, well, I mean, you can.
They're not going to be cheaper.
They won't ever get cheaper.
They're not getting cheaper. Just like you're going to wait till ammo goes down to Trump prices again. Good luck for that.
Not going to happen. Or gas.
No. Or that.
So I got to ask you, Brandon, I know there's been some regulatory things coming down from ATF and with their little letters sending out to FFLs. Is there anything that you've seen that's, I'm guessing you've seen some of the same things that other guys are telling me, but why don't I let you kind of tell everybody what's going on?
Well, they're from what I understand is they're really trying to crack down as far as, I mean, this would be their agenda based on gun control that they know they can probably never get. They just shut me down.
Wow.
I got Davidson's, which is a big wholesaler company. They Gallery Guns online. They've been around for years. They got a warehouse in Arizona, I think Prescott, and I think they actually got one in North Carolina too. And here probably about a month ago, I got some freight in from them. And along with that freight came a big letter that had urgent on the top, and we started reading through it a little bit and whatever. And yeah, come to find out that they didn't reference who the actual ATF FBI shut down, but they are basically now, as far as just to give me a stress level a little more or whatever, any paperwork error where, everybody's human, and I still have everybody fill out forms. I know there's some people that are automated that don't, that's all on the computer and whatever. But I mean, they're talking, any kind of paperwork error now, even an error that would be something we could just simply call the customer and fix, or if it went even more detailed to that, as far as maybe we logged out like the wrong gun, or it's something that we did wrong on our side.
Right.
They basically are in that memo that I got from my wholesale company, my distribution center, Davidson's. They said one is all it would take nowadays, and they will pull your Edgeo firearms license.
And it's happening already.
Yeah, I was just reading a story last night. This 46 years. This James Morrison found a JM gun repair, and they sell guns and whatnot. And of course, just like you said, Brandon, one of the ATF agents came in and found something. They didn't dot the I or cross the T, and shut him down from selling guns.
Yep.
I mean, does the ATF get shut down when they forget to do something like that? Maybe that should go both ways, because they'd be out of business already.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, the problem is with it, they're already trying to shut down small business, 6.5% interest just on my line of credit now, and it's just a bonus for them that I'm a gun shop. You know what I mean? I mean, they're trying to shut down small business anyway, but whatever they could do to make it easy on themselves, and then bonus for them is that, hey, it's a gun shop too. I mean, they're grinning from ear to ear,
Oh, absolutely.
So here's what Biden administration, this is their rules with their 5 rules that they classify as a rogue gun dealer, try to make you. So the number one thing is transferring a firearm to a prohibited person. I don't know any firearms dealer that would want to do that, because they know that's illegal, right? I mean,
right.
Okay.
I legally, I mean, if you look at the whole picture and how everything works over here, and I've said this for years too, there's no way that I could even do that.
Right.
I mean, everybody fills out a form. Okay. Now if it's a lapse of judgment or a glitch on their computer at the time or whatever, but all the information my customer fills in, I plug right into my computer and they have it all. They make they do the background check to make the determination if that customer's prohibited or if he's good to have the gun.
Yeah.
So I've scratched my head on that one for years, how I could physically, I mean, there's no way I could do that.
Well, you're going to
Either they're going to say, oh, go ahead.
You're going to scratch your head on the other 4 here too. I mean, it's ridiculous. But so number 2 on his rogue gun dealers is failing to run a required background check. You can't let a firearm leave your store without doing a background check, correct, Brandon?
Correct.
Okay.
That's not even
possible.
Yeah.
Are we up against the break, Randy? I'll tell you what, you want to hold on with us, Brandon?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right. We're going to take a quick break and pay the bills. You're listening to Super Talk 1270, Talk of the Town. We'll be right back.
Talk of the Town, brought to you by Mandan Sporting Goods, Dvorak Motors, we're your family for a lifetime. Big Boy, just get in line. It moves fast. Hit Inc. Independence, dignity, respect. Hit Inc.
70% of domestic violence victims report that their abuser has either threatened, injured, or killed their pet. 70%.
The Purple Leash Project is working to make domestic violence shelters pet-friendly. Learn more at purpleleashproject.com. For the Pet Minute, I'm Steve Dale.
If getting up early in the morning is hard, unless it's hunting season, then we've got a radio show for you. Sporting Journal Radio. It's the Midwest's radio home for the outdoors. I'm Brett Amundson, and I'll get you caught up on the latest hunting, fishing, and outdoor information each week with tips from guides, biologists, and wild game cooks. Tune in to Sporting Journal Radio.
Every Saturday morning starting at 7 on Supertalk 1270 and supertalk1270.com.
Supertalk 1270. Talk of the town on Supertalk 1270.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to Gun Day Monday. Our main sponsor for today's show is Brandon from Mandan Sporting Goods, and we still got Brandon on the line. I just wanted to mention to our live stream viewers that are tuning in that way that during the breaks, you won't be able to hear us because we got to take the commercial breaks, but we're live on radio. Just let all of you know that, but appreciate you tuning in there at Guns and the 701. Of course, that's Jamie and our brand new podcast.
Right on, brother.
Wednesday nights, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 7 p.m. Central. So, Brandon, we were just talking about some of the ATF regulations. I'm going to let Jamie take that from here because he's got it right in front of him.
Because keep scratching your head here, Brandon. So we're going to number 3. Number 3 for rogue gun dealer, falsifying records such as firearms transaction form. That's pretty much common sense. So you can't falsify anything on the form, right, Brandon?
Well, no, I mean, no, because even if falsify or even if you can't have no errors or corrections on the form, you know, if somebody messes up and let's say they start filling the form out and you're supposed to put your last name first and they put their first name first, well, then you have to start the whole form over.
Yeah.
We tear it up and you start over. So falsifying now, I don't know how that would even be possible as far as what they would falsify. The only thing I could think that they could try to lie about that I wouldn't know, because everything else, I mean, I do one and above even just to try to make the ATF, the FBI happy is.
Yep.
And I know I get some shit from some of my customers about doing it, but I've been doing it for 14 years now, just under the recommendation of an ATF guy we had down out of Fargo that used to come call on us that, you know, I could actually talk to the guy. I mean, he wasn't one of those guys, if you know what I mean. I mean, he actually had a head on his shoulders where you could talk to him a little bit. And that was his recommendation. So, I mean, I even make a copy of everybody. Anybody knows that if they bought a gun from me.
Right.
I make a copy of your driver's license. So the only thing on the form that I could say that they could possibly be trying to falsify would be now with this medical marijuana stuff going on, and the question on the form that they ask about if you're addicted to marijuana or not, which I would have.
Which Hunter lied about, Hunter Biden. Get his.
Well, yeah.
All right. Let's go to number 4 here. Number 4, which I'm not sure about this. Failing to respond to an ATF tracing request. What are they tracing? I thought they couldn't trace anything because they didn't keep records after background checks.
Well, the thing that they can try to trace is if they were to, let's say, we call a foreman on you, Jamie, and it comes back either delayed or denied.
Okay.
Most of the time, what they'll do then is they'll initiate, and if there's something more to it other than you're just denied and that's it. But most of the time, I tell everybody, you know, if they're kind of on the fence and they don't know if they're going to be able to pass a background check or not, and I do get some people in here that have had some history in their past, and they're just like, well, it's been this long, and I've done my time, or it's off my record now. I like to see if I'm good to buy a gun. Well, their easy way to do that would be just come in and fill out a form. But I inform everybody that before you fill out a form, if there is something on your background or in your past that you don't have cleared up through your lawyer or a judge signing off on it, I would not recommend just coming into my gun shop and filling out a form and seeing if you're approved or not. Because if you're not approved, then that's where this ATF trace comes from.
Okay.
And then basically when you fill out a 4473, of course, I don't have to buy those forms from the ATF. They give them to me.
Oh, isn't that nice?
So basically, my theory on that is, and I think why they do that is because they can still say that's their form. Then you know what I mean?
I suppose, yeah.
If you want to think that way. So when they do an ATF background check or a trace on somebody, then that they either found something more to him or her or whatever. They basically call us up here and they say they have a trace and they give us where the firearm was shipped from. They say what day we got it in the mail. And then basically we have to do all of our research through our background or through our books here, A&D books, and find the customer they're referring to. And basically any information that you have written down on that form is basically the FBI's and the ATF. I got to recite it all right to them.
Yes. And that's just it. There's no per se registration. And of course we have the law actually that they can't keep it, but they still have that information. And how many years, I forget, Brandon, how many years are you required to keep that information on hand?
Forever.
That's right. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
And that's just it. No one realizes this, that every single FFL dealer has to keep those records. And yeah, here a couple of years ago, a good friend of mine who had an FFL passed away, and his son was wanting to take over. And I mean, you want to talk about a fiasco, because unfortunately, I think some of the bookkeeping was a little bit off. Just, simple things. They just, he didn't have a store, a brick and mortar store. He did it out of his home. And yeah, there were mistakes. Plus, on top of that, there were other issues that weren't necessarily, there wasn't any intent to be illegal, just bad bookkeeping. And it actually, they pulled the FFL over stupid things.
Yeah. So then, they passed the House and the Senate that will recently pass the Second Amendment infringement bill. One of them is if you get a delay, even a delay on your background check, they're going to send the FBI come talk to you now.
They can according to that.
Yeah.
And there's also more parameters for, I believe, between 18 and 21-year-olds, isn't there?
Yeah. Yeah, there is. Yeah.
I'm guessing you got that notification, Brandon.
I did not yet, but the problem is that they kind of like to keep me like a mushroom in the dark unless you're going to read up into this stuff all on your own. It's not like they send memos out or nothing like that. I mean, they don't. I have customers come in and they say, hear about this or this would happen or that would happen. And if you're not up on top of it, exactly like you guys are, because we talk like this on Monday mornings, but they don't let you, the less you know, the better off it is for them.
Oh, absolutely. Because then you can make a mistake and they can come in and that whole cycle we were just talking about happens. But, and that's, that's just typical alphabet agency.
We were just talking about, instead of just going to try and do a background check and see if you can buy a gun, is it possible to like call the Attorney General's office and maybe have them check before you actually run a background check on a gun and see what your record is?
Well, what I recommend is, and you hate to say that it might cost you a little money, but it might cost you a little money. And from what I've seen, where I've had people that have actually been denied, and they look me right in the eyes, and I know them as personal friends or customers I've had in the past, and they're just like, this ain't right. And I've actually had them reverse their decision on their denial. What I tell most people is, though, if you're uncertain and you have something that possibly in the past, however long ago it's been, it might even have been 15, 20 years ago, but just if you're still on the fence and you don't know what to do, and that's what's kept you from buying a gun since then, you might have to get the Attorney General involved. You might have to get a lawyer involved. You might have to get the prosecuting attorney for the county you live in.
Yes.
Just to pull records here, on what's going on. But let's just cross your fingers and hope that it's not that long ago, or the problem I've had with a couple of them is they've already disposed of the records. Guy swears he's free and clear. Something he did when he was 18 years old, wanted to buy a silencer from me.
Yep.
Federal government says he's still prohibited.
Yeah.
State government says that he's done his deed. They reduced his sentence. He's good to go. But on the federal side of it, they still say that he hasn't done his deed and he's good to go. Well, now you're going to have lawyers involved.
Absolutely. And part of that happens because they didn't file their paperwork after so many years,
Correctly.
and it actually expires. And I'll tell you what, Brandon, do you want to hold on for another
I
segment?
got a few more questions for you, Brandon.
All right, we're going to
Awesome.
hold Brandon
I got
over
a few
from
for you too, so I'm good.
Good.
from Mandan Sporting Goods. Brandon, he's doing a great job, sponsor of Monday Gun Day, and we want to thank Dvorak Motors, Big Boy, and Hit Incorporated. We're going to go pay a few more bills,
Right
and
on.
we'll be right back here.
Hang in there, live streamers.
They do a way better job.
Talk of the town.
Supertalk 1270, broadcasting.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're on Talk of the Town here on Gun Day Monday, and we got Mandan Sporting Goods, our main sponsor of Monday Gun Day. Dvorak Motors, we're your family for a lifetime. And by the way, lunch is coming fast. Big boy,
Right.
get in line, and it moves fast, and it really does. So, we want to, Marty, I got your comment there. I bet that would be some interesting if people could hear the off-air chit-chat behind the scenes. We do cover a lot of good subjects, and Marty, if you're still listening, we want to have you on as a guest. We're going to have that happen here on our podcast one of these Wednesdays. So,
Hey, Waylon Turnus, morning.
Waylon, thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
So, Brandon, before we left the break, we were talking ATF regulations and other things, and I know Jamie had a couple more things, but you said you had some questions too.
I do. But go ahead, Jamie.
Okay.
We'll finish up, and then we'll see if this makes any sense.
Yeah, I got something on the last rogue definition of a rogue dealer, and then I got something for you on suppressors too. So the last one is refusing to permit ATF to conduct an inspection in violation of the law. What gun dealer is really going to do that? I mean,
none.
Honestly, Brandon, if they came knocking on your door and said,
honestly, I've been 14 years here, and I don't know just the way things are. The only thing I could think on that is that, there's certain stuff going on now stateside where they're doing stuff, and I don't remember what the name of the group is up in Williston. I just watched that on the news here last week, where they're going to try to get the state to try to override anything the federal government tries to say to do. But I honestly didn't. I mean, they renew my license every 5 years, so I can't imagine that I could tell them they could not come in, I guess.
Right.
Unless it would be something that possibly that was done on a state level through the state, saying that they're not allowing the feds in to do their whatever, their inspection or whatever. But
yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, well, they're saying.
I mean, if you want to be on a hit list, I guess that would be the way to get on a hit list, I guess.
Well, and with what you're talking about, there's basically like a Second Amendment sanctuary. There's 3 counties in North Dakota, but we did get this passed in the state. I testified on that bill. Now, how much teeth does it have? That's going to come down to each county sheriff, because let's face it, they are the end all arbitrator in your county, the top law enforcement official. They can arrest federal agents. I know the feds say they can't. I guarantee you they can, because Harding County Sheriff did it. He put that boy in his jail and didn't let him out. And I love that guy because he is. And I imagine Corey Lee would have something to say about that in Stark County, because he is a very, very big advocate of states' rights. And especially he knows his rights as the county sheriff. So, but yeah, like you said, Brandon, you want to get yourself put on a list if we're not already on there.
Sure.
That one would do it, and they could jerk your license.
And you were talking about your friend there who wants to buy a suppressor from you. I actually did see last week that Ken Paxton, he's the Attorney General in Texas, he is suing the federal government, saying that it's an infringement after the Bruin case there that just went to the Supreme Court, that's going to be an infringement, that they should be able to own suppressors in Texas on a state level. So you could actually, if that wins, he's actually going to be able to just go by the state law and own a suppressor here. Maybe not federally, but
it'll be a huge thing if he gets a win. I'm sure they'll appeal it if that happens, because you're going back to the NFA now, the National Firearms Act. And there's, this all started with the NFA, and then of course 1960 Gun Control Act, 1986, and then in 1994 the assault weapons ban, but it expired.
And then you got to remember for the way the government is and how they like their money, you guys can't forget the $200 that it costs too.
Yep.
That's probably more what they complain about than any of the stuff you just recited there, Clay. Is the money that they wouldn't be getting then if he decides, if that does win.
Yeah, they would hate to have that. They don't want to lose taking our money anytime they can.
So speaking of taking our money,
so I got a dumb question,
ahead,
and
Brent.
we can maybe talk about this some other time. But I'm going to flip the roles here now. I heard that the IRS. Now, my first concern and question is, I heard back in the day, and this is probably even before Biden, and it might even been before Trump. But there's a lot of these ATF agents, and I know this just because I was referring to the guy that used to call on me. That when there's no funding available, or maybe that was right maybe it was right when COVID was hitting or whatever. I mean, these guys literally just sit on their thumbs. They don't do nothing. They can't go nowhere because they have no money allocated to them. So they put gas in their vehicles to drive around and this and that. But what is your guys' take on this hiring of 87,000 more IRS agents and then arming them so they can use deadly force? Is this what's the agenda on the backside for the ATF?
Well,
as far as their agenda of these 5 rules now, as far as rogue dealers and coming into your gun shops and checking your books and whatever else.
We were just talking about that off air during the break, and I think the answer to that simple is yes. Let's remember, IRS agents, revenuers, I'm sure everybody remembers that term.
You ever seen the Dukes of Hazzard?
Yeah. And the revenuers were enforcing alcohol prohibition. That's how they were doing it. They were doing it with tax code. In fact, they used tax code to jail Al Capone. Do you think for a minute that they aren't going to use these agents, which are going to all fall under U.S. Code Title 18, because that's where every firearm, alcohol, tobacco, and tax law is located primarily? You darn right they'll use it, and that's why they're arming them. And if I remember right, I think they even bought a whole bunch more ammunition.
Yeah, $700,000 worth.
I heard 5 million rounds is what I heard, but I don't know if that's true or not either. But
I think that's what they have on hand. But they believe they've purchased another 700,000 rounds.
Yep.
Another 700,000.
I'm pretty sure they ain't doing that for fun. I'm pretty sure they're going to make use of it. And when you look at that ad that FBI or that the IRS put out for hiring these agents, I mean, be willing to carry a firearm and use it. I mean, all these things that they want, they want to hire. Well, they're not going to hire your normal run of the guy.
All right, Clay, you want me to say what the major duties are? What you're talking
go
about
for
there?
it. Yep.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But here's this is what the major duties include if you're hired on as one of these new IRS agents. Adhere to the highest standard of conduct, especially in maintaining honesty and integrity. I know, it's hard not to laugh about that. Work a minimum of 50 hours per week, which may include irregular hours, and be on call 24/7, including holidays and weekends. I wouldn't understand why that would mean. Maintain a level of fitness necessary to effectively respond to life-threatening situations on the job. Now, here are the last two that really get you. Carry a firearm and be willing to use deadly force if necessary. Yep. And the last one, be willing and able to participate in arrests, executions of search warrants, and other dangerous assignments.
Wow.
What are these guys, a SWAT team or what? I mean,
that's what they'll act like. And as far as being on call, I can tell you what that's about. You got to raid things like like former presidents' residencies and things like that. Right. I mean, that's what they're going to do. And everybody kind of was, when that all hit, and they're like, oh, the local guys won't participate, but they do.
Yeah.
And they will.
I did hear that. Yeah, I did hear that on another show, and they were saying that the upper echelon is who was doing this. The field agents wouldn't do that, and I'm like, the upper echelon boys ain't kicking doors and busting into safes. That's field agents.
That's field agents. Can you imagine the applicants they're going to get? I can just envision, Black Lives Matter people or Antifa. You think of any rogue liberal group out there that, as far as I'm concerned, you call them militant and tyrants.
Yeah.
Them are the guys that are gonna apply. And I would imagine that's who they'll hire, because we know who the people are that are going to be doing the hiring.
Yeah. So even playing off of that a little bit, Clay, like you're saying, IRS and Antifa, we were talking a while back about, how everybody had these groups that are potential terrorists, like who have the Gadsden flag and
that's horrible people.
The Betsy Ross flag. I noticed a few of them were missing on there. The Antifa flag and the BLM flag are missing off of that. Because
not on there, are they?
I personally witnessed city blocks being destroyed by these people, and Antifa's still thumping heads out in the West Coast. I mean,
absolutely,
that's a terrorist group. But
they're terrorist group.
And Brandon, see if you agree with this. Clay and I were saying it's the IRS agents. So if they find you negligent on your tax duties, we think what their plan is to make you then a felon, in which case they will take away your Second Amendment rights.
Oh, yeah.
Could you see that happening?
It's all a plan. Hey, I think we're up against the end of the hour, Brandon, and we're gonna let you. It goes fast, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Awesome.
But Brandon, we want to thank you coming on again. I believe we're going to be back on next Monday, so we can continue this next Monday.
You bet.
And we want to thank you for coming on, Brandon.
Hey, you bet. Not a problem. Thank you.
You
All
bet.
right, catch you later.
Have a good week, buddy.
All right, we're coming up against the top of the hour, everybody, on a hard break. We got Gun Day Monday. Marty, you're right. The Department of Ag is also armed now, and that's a huge problem. Listen and Talk of the Town here on Gun Day Monday, and Mandan Sporting Goods, the main sponsor. We'll catch you on the other side of the break. Stay tuned, and we'll talk to you after the break.
Right on.
Talk of the Town, brought to you by Mandan Sporting Goods, Dvorak Motors, we're your family for a lifetime. Big Boy, just get in line. It moves fast. Hit Inc. Independence, dignity, respect. Hit Inc. Talk of the Town.
1270.
Welcome back to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, for our quick segment before the top of the hour. I jumped the gun on that, you could say, before the top of the hour. Marty, you're absolutely right. We want to just talk about that quick. Like, they arm the Department of Agriculture. They're arming these alphabet agencies, and for what reason? I mean, what are we going to send an FSA agent out to my place? And of course, I don't do business with the government, so I don't have that problem. And if they show up, there's a bigger problem. And I always tell everybody, if that happens, then I buy hogs. You'll know why.
Feed them to woo. Well, yeah, what are they going to do? Clay, you're making too much money on your hay bales. We're going to shoot the tires out on your baler here.
Yeah, or, I know a lot of these guys participate in these programs, and they'll pay you on drought, say it's drought relief, and they come and they count your bales, and then they'll say, well, the average bales you get is supposed to be three bales an acre. This year you got one. They'll show up to kind of inspect and count your bales. What are they going to do? They find an extra bale and say, well, you lied to us, and then arrest you. And I mean, I wouldn't want to be pulling arms on people like me that live in the middle of nowhere.
I think it's going to get ridiculous like that with these IRS agents, to be honest with you, Clay.
The IRS agents, and like I said, the people they're going to hire are not going to be your run-of-the-mill. You know what? I'll put this out there. Any retired military, sheriffs, constitutional police officers that are retired, apply for those jobs.
Yeah.
That way, and then just tell them, nope, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
But
the thing is, Democrat, I mean, if you're listening, you don't believe what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you it's true. That they're going to scan people, screen them, and make sure that they're on their team.
Oh,
and their team is the leftist team, the Biden team, that train of thought. They don't want people like me and Clayton who have, constitutional liberty.
It's the communist team. Like I keep calling the DNC, the Democrat National Communist Party now, which it is. And guys, we're going to be going into our hard break at the top. Call us after the break, 1-701-663-1270. If you disagree or agree, if you disagree, we'll take your call first.
Yeah.
All right. Talk of the Town on Gun Day Monday. Don't forget Hit Incorporated, where decency, dignity, and respect is the main issue there, guys, and the main goal.
Yep.
Join us again here after the top of the hour on Gun Day Monday and Talk of the Town.
See you on the other side, live streamers.
Talk of the Town, weekday mornings starting at 9 on Super Talk 1270 and the free Super Talk 1270 mobile app.
KLXX AM, Mandan, Bismarck, a Town Square media station, broadcasting from the View Community Credit Union Studio.
and lower $13.95 at a quarter. September bean meal down $14.60 a ton, $4.50.10. Bean oil September down 199 points, $67.54. Chicago wheat September down 14.5, $7.91 at a half. Kansas City wheat September down 16.5, $8.72 at 3/4. Spring wheat September down 19 at 3/4, $8.99 3/4. Cattle are higher with October live cattle up 37, $144.87. Triple digit strength at feeder cattle and hogs moderately lower. This is the American Ag Network.
News, talk, and sports for Bismarck Mandan. Super Talk 1270. Welcome back to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
All right, welcome back again, everybody. Gun Day Monday, sponsored by Mandan Sporting Goods. Big boy, just get in line and it moves fast, and I can tell you it does. And they got great food and great service. It incorporated independence, dignity, and respect. And yeah, that guys, that service to me is probably invaluable, especially for people at end of life and in nursing homes. So
I know somebody who works there, and they're like, "Why hit sponsors the show?" I'm like, "Yeah,
great,
oh, yeah,
we love that."
Awesome.
All right, so we got a lot of things to talk about this hour.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to lead into exactly what you just brought up, but I'm going to give a little precursor to this. As you all know, that Miss Un-America, she's decided to run as an independent for the United States Congress seat in North Dakota. From what I understand, a lot of this developed because at the Democrat state convention, they put up an actual pro-life candidate, believe it or not, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, give credit where credit's due. A pro-life Democrat, that's great. That's the right side of things. And she didn't like that decision. And of course, evidently things went south from there. And now she all of a sudden makes this announcement as an independent candidate, and she's going to run for the United States House. I can tell you this, and she probably don't remember me, and I could care less if she does. But when I was working for the NRA, I had discussions with her. She is not a pro Second Amendment. And if she comes out and says she is, I don't care. I'll call her a liar. In fact, we'll have her on the show and I'll call her a liar because she is a liar. She does not believe that the Second Amendment is really for anything but hunting. I mean, that's what I took
I'll
away
add
from
some
it.
of this when you're done here. For you.
I have no use for somebody who doesn't believe in the Constitution. I sure ain't going to vote for him.
Right.
And so, guys, I wouldn't vote for Kelly Armstrong. May be a lot of things, and there's a lot of opinions, especially on a politician. I can tell you this, though. That man is 100% pro Second Amendment. His votes prove it. If you bother to even look up the United States Congress and look at his videos and testimony in committees, that guy uses his legal knowledge as an attorney to just hammer these anti-gunners every time they get in front of him. And so I will not waver one bit on Kelly Armstrong's Second Amendment support. It's solid. It's 100%. And that's the guy you want in there on Second Amendment issues. And that's going to lead into what we were just talking about off break.
I would say this too about Kelly Armstrong. You know, I've disagreed with him on some things too. And we have a mutual friend, a good friend of mine, actually, is friends with him. And he was actually the lead boat up on the Chicago Trump parade.
Yes, he was. I was in that parade.
You think Caramondo would do that?
I didn't see her out there, you know, but there were like 1,500 boats.
Yeah. So let me say a little something here. I got this. Somebody sent me this. I think it was an article in a local newspaper here about what she was saying about in our Second Amendment rights. Right. Munn said the government should strike a balance between allowing responsible citizens, what's a responsible citizen, to own guns and preventing gun violence. In North Dakota, obviously, our Second Amendment rights are so huge. Hunting is a major pastime here.
See what I mean?
Okay, I'm not done. But I do think we need responsible gun ownership. I don't think parents should be fearful sending their kids to kindergarten, whether or not they're going to come home. Responsible gun ownership, but also upholding our Second Amendment rights is ideally what I'm advocating for. All right, let's break this down a little bit.
Well, she used all the code words.
Right.
Responsible gun ownership. Hunting is a major thing. I didn't hear her say common sense gun laws. That's probably the only thing that she did.
Right. Well, she said, I think they changed that to responsible citizen.
Kind of like Saw.
Right. And hey, Ms. Munn, if you're listening, if you can find the word hunting in the Second Amendment to our Bill of Rights, I will give you every single semi-automatic I own.
Yeah, there you go. It's that simple.
So good luck. Get back to me on that.
Please find the word hunting.
Yeah.
Even mentioned in the Constitution.
Yeah. And as far as, even mentioned in the,
I'm looking at my copy right now and I can't find it. But I do read these 27 words: a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. 27 words, and hunting isn't mentioned once in it.
Right. And I do believe in the latest Supreme Court case, Clarence Thomas didn't say anything about it either.
No,
I
in
could be
fact,
wrong. I didn't read all of it, but
that case and DC versus Keller and several others actually you don't hear about have affirmed our individual right in that it's God given and it can't be infringed.
yeah.
So, Kara, of course, you know, you're probably just another pretty face. Probably don't have a lot up in that noggin of yours, so you probably can't comprehend what we're saying.
I'm just looking for. I'd love to see somebody give her a good question instead of the newspaper that's what she said. I want to see her and Kelly up there because I know Kelly Armstrong knows what the Second Amendment's about. The guys I talked about suppressors with him before, and he's all on that too.
There's nobody better from North Dakota that sits in that seat than Kelly Armstrong when it comes to the Second Amendment. You can disagree with him on anything else.
Yeah.
But on the Second Amendment, that guy is 100% and he's solid. He won't sell us down the road like a few rhinos did in the House recently on the assault weapons ban.
Yep.
They crossed over 2 Republicans. And
and she's talking about worrying about sending our kids to school and being safe. Guess what? They're probably not, because there's not much of a defense of our kids in our schools, and I'll bet you she's not for that.
No, and as we just learned here during the primary runs leading up to that, when we were guest hosting, that Bismarck, I forget which high school it was, or was it a middle school, was rated in the top 10 most dangerous schools because of the way it's built with all the glass, and there's just no way to actually defend that. So there are other things to do. By the way, let's not forget that you can have armed resource officers and armed employees within the school districts. They just got to do it, submit the paperwork to the DPI, which that's a whole nother conversation, but it can be done. You want, and this was proven not so many weeks ago. A good guy with a gun will always stop a bad guy with the gun, as it happened in that mall.
And to add a little something to that, he did it with a carry pistol and a guy with an AR-15, which is supposed to be like the Jedi rifle that nobody can defeat with
most
anything.
Dangerous gun. You know, he did a video on it.
Yeah, we did it. Axel and I did it. We
was using the lung blower.
That'll get you not kicked off of Facebook, I'll tell you what. Did me. But so, if you're looking for that, actually, I was out at Axel's gun range there on Saturday morning, and him and I did an AK-47.
And I can't wait to get. I got the footage now. I got it downloaded. I just got to do some editing to it, guys. So stay tuned because we're gonna have some fun with that. And that's part of the YouTube channel for Guns in the 701. We want to have our live streams on Wednesday, but we want to have some content there. And I think we're doing a good job of looking at the traffic on there. We did the first one with your watermelon explosions.
We got a few on this one too, I'll tell you that.
And the flamethrower, I think we got to do something more with that.
All right. Hey, Axel said it's working great, so we'll figure something. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna tell him that and have him brainstorm, because he's kind of a softer spoken dude, but he's super intelligent, has good ideas about stuff. So, and of course Tannerite. Well, how can you not have fun with Tannerite? Oh, Brandon, remember a while ago I said I think Brandon has Tannerite and the orange stuff. I can't think of what that is right offhand, but he does have them both in there. Good. And you know what I think you should do, actually? We're talking about videos, Clay. You got an antelope tag, right? I do. I think, you should probably start from sighting in and what you're doing and what kind of gun you're using, your ammo, do a little sighting in and could do that. Practice shooting. Then, if you got somebody with you, the camera, video, I think that'd be pretty awesome, actually, because I'm going to do that to a few of my friends that have buck tags in our land. I probably shouldn't use my 50, right? Why not? I didn't mean 50 BMG. Maybe it's a 54 caliber muzzleloader. Oh, but those are pretty dangerous too, because they're 50 cal. So it is. Oh yeah, the Revolution. Weapon of war. So weapon of war right there. Yeah, muzzleloader, weapon of war. I hate to tell you. If you caught one of our last episodes, we addressed this weapons of war thing. I mean, think about that. We've done it on here too. It's an ongoing thing. But that's another code. I always call them the code words from the left. Weapons, they scare people. Scary black guns. Yeah. AR is not assault rifle. It's Armalite rifle, model 15. I mean, this just is never ending. But if you don't educate yourself, and I highly recommend, don't take our word for it. Go check it out. In fact, we'll take you out shooting. And I guarantee you, if you still walk away not being a Second Amendment supporter, we didn't do our job. Right. Right.
I have yet to take somebody out, and I have taken people out who've never touched a firearm in their life, probably didn't even like them. Got them out there, and that first smile on their face when they ring that steel. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's money, guys, right there.
I
Money.
I would say this too: if you are going to take somebody out shooting and they're a first time shooter, start with 22 or 17, and if you have access, like, hey, we do watermelons, get yourself some jugs, because when you get a reactive target, it's
reactionary targets are always more fun.
Yeah, I've probably shot near 1,000 jugs, and every time I shoot one, I still get a big smile on my face, and I love it because it's awesome.
We should do some with red, white, and we could do clear, red, and white, or red and blue. Patriotic.
I did
coloring.
the tannerite. I'll do another one next time, actually, with I use a chalk powder and the red and the blue and the So I'll do one.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm probably going back to the farm this week, and my buddy Wyatt, I'm going to borrow. Well, he's got I think he won it at the ATF.
ATF raffle.
I was actually working the ATF raffle. Yeah.
Cool.
And he won it through that. It's the Cmte Banshee. It's a 9mm.
That's a nice little gun.
Yeah, the PCC.
I remember when we had those.
So I'm going to do that. We've shot it before, but I'm going to do something for that. And it's
absolutely. Well, and I like the videos. Like I said, the AK. You guys featured AK-47. Oh no, AK-15s, right? Jamie, you want to tell me what that means?
Yeah, well, Joe Biden and who's the other guy who just said
that guy? Who
the guy for the Chiefs, or the Indianapolis Colts GM. But so I'll give you a little. We shot 2 AK rifles that Axe had, and 2 of the pistols. AK,
yep, I saw that.
And from shooting, and I have shot AKs before, and I owned a Saiga, which is an AK variant, but it was and maybe people disagree with me, but I'm sorry, but the AR-15 just a far superior weapon to that to me. I mean, if you're going to clear a house, maybe with that 30 cal 7.62 on but I mean, the way it jumps around and noise and.
Well, the AK-47, the Kalashnikov, by the way, and developed in Russia. In fact, he was a big star. You could say he was like the celebrity in Russia because he invented
and the communists still made him live in a little ring.
They still didn't give him credit, but didn't give him nothing for it.
Yeah.
And I can tell you right now, there are more AK-47s, and not in the United States, across the world, guys. It is the number one choice of our enemy.
Yeah.
Talk to anyone who's been in the military, and it kind of reminds me of Heartbreak Ridge, the movie. It's probably true when he's training the Marines. That was the sound of your enemy when he shoots over their heads. You will not forget. It was
makes
a great
distinct noise. It's an AK-47. It makes a distinct sound. Yeah.
The chosen weapon of our enemy, and it is. When you compare that to an AR-15, which is really not a weapon of war until recently,
right?
Because
until
they shipped
recently,
them to the Ukraine.
Yep, that was the official first war. It was in, to the best of our knowledge. I'm pretty sure we're
right. And to me, the AR-15 is superior over even the AK-47. Now, I have a Century Arms AK. Of course, that's USA built, made. I will say this: that firearm, because it's the tolerances are so much tighter.
Milled receiver, pretty sure, instead of stamped.
And it's a good firearm. I have a lot of fun with it. I'm gonna have to get me one of them yellow magazines though. That was awesome.
Yeah, the big banana, the actual banana clip, the banana clip.
Yeah, the clip. But the AK, is it a useful tool? Yes. I think it's something you should have in your collection for other reasons.
Yeah, just because it's cool. You can buy guns because they're cool and they look BA. Don't feel bad about that. I mean, it's just like if you want to buy a Ford Mustang or Chevy Camaro, you want them because they're cool and they look BA. So
well, think about that: a vehicle that goes over the speed limit. Why would you need that?
Yeah, way over.
I mean, why would you need something that goes beyond the speed limit?
Yeah, way over. Yeah.
Why would you need a magazine over 30 rounds or 10 rounds? Why would you
I was on the river yesterday morning, actually, speaking of why would you need speed and all. My good friend of mine, Brad, who he invited me out and his son and another guy on his, I don't know, what do they call the Sea-Doos? Wave runners, jets? I'm not sure.
Jet skis.
Okay, I apologize.
Wave runner.
But there wasn't much wind yesterday morning, and I mean the water was pretty calm, and to beat a rush going up the river about 65 miles an hour that close to the water it's an awesome experience. I mean, I don't know if I'd ever want to own one, but a couple times a year I get invited out by Brad. It's unbelievable.
I've had a couple jet skis. I still got one. I didn't even take it out today. They're a lot of fun. And they're not all created equal.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. He's got I mean, he had a video I couldn't get it from, but I mean, I punched it right next to him and we were already going like 40 and that thing took off like a rocket,
I'm too tight to buy a brand new one, but I've had a couple older ones, and one was a 2-seater, one was a single with a rebuilt motor. And the rebuilt motor, of course, was like any other motor. You're going to
Mm-hmm.
put a little extra in it, right? That baby, yeah, I come behind one of the great big boats on our lake where we got our cabin, and I wasn't prepared for the wake that was coming out of those 300 horse motors behind it. It was a pretty good sized boat. Actually, I would call that a cabin cruiser. I did some air time, and let's just say I didn't land it.
Right.
If someone had been videoing that, I'd have made a great sizzle reel for
I
what
will
not
say
to do.
that, because I actually hit a few, and I was going fast, and I didn't really, think about how big the wave was. This was just like coming by some pontoons, and I didn't get chucked off, but I flew pretty good. And after that, I was like, I need to use this brake thing on here when I see that coming again.
Those brakes, it's kind of funny how they work.
But the thought did cross my mind. I was thinking if some people would be like, geez, what do you need to go that fast for?
If we could put a rifle mount on the front of that baby.
Well, they got a little compartment for your handgun.
That's perfect.
You can make it secure so it doesn't flop around in there.
What would you need that for on the water?
Yeah.
Revenuers. Rogue revenuers.
Rogue revenuers.
RRs. Everyone likes to use first. They're the RRs.
I'll say this too. I was surprised that those things are gas hogs.
Oh, that's probably why I haven't taken my boat or that out, because I don't want the fuel bill this year.
So anybody who's familiar with Missouri here, we come out of Lakewood, and by the time we got up to Misty Waters, that was half a tank.
I'll tell you what, we're up against the break, guys. We'll get back to guns.
Yeah, we'll get back to guns. Sorry.
We're going to take a quick break here on Talk of the Town. Monday Gun Day, and Mandan Sporting Goods, our sponsor for today, and Buck Muley. All right, we'll catch you on the other side of the break.
Talk of the Town, brought to you by Mandan Sporting Goods, Dvorak Motors, we're your family for a lifetime. Big Boy, just get in line. It moves fast. Hit Inc. Independence, dignity, respect. Hit Inc. Talk of the Town.
Real estate, buying or selling. Turn to the proven team, Denise Ziegler and Amy Montgomery. Here's what Danny had to say.
Amy and Denise seemed to have a great rapport with every single lender in town, the title companies as well. So whenever it came to me getting an FHA loan, they knew exactly who to talk to. And even when it came down to the integral parts of the loan itself, so not only are they great working on the real estate market, but they also know the mortgage side of it.
Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate Alliance Group. 1022 East Divide, Bismarck.
Almost 3 million people use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage, the world's only nose cleaner that helps flush out airborne germs with powered suction. But what do doctors have to say about Navage? Here's Dr. Tonya Farmer, a board-certified ear, nose, and throat specialist.
Most airborne allergens and viruses enter through your nose. When that happens, it can cause congestion and irritation, and that just makes you feel miserable. You can get a cold, you can get flu, sinus infections, or even worse. Flushing your nose with a saline solution is the most effective way to flush all of those dangerous threats out of your nose. So now when patients come in my office, I tell them I highly recommend that you use Navage on a daily basis for overall good health and wellness.
And Navage is all natural and drug-free at Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Individual rates, coverage offerings, and savings may vary, subject to terms and conditions. Not available in all areas. Actual Pie customer.
Workers' comp can crush a small business. Every year it would jump 5, 10, 15, 20%. Even though there was never any claims. And that's where I was struggling as a growing business.
That's Mike Lozier, owner of Gutter Plumber, a small business in New Jersey. A while back, Mike found his workers' comp costs rising. Luckily, he discovered Pie Insurance.
From start to finish, it was extremely easy. They quickly came back to me with a plan that was affordable for me.
Are you overpaying for workers' comp? Just go to ineedpie.com, share a few details about your business, and you could save up to 30% with no hassle or hidden fees. Like Mike, we think you'll be glad you did.
I'm very happy that I moved over to Pie for my workers' comp so that I can grow my company while not breaking the bank.
Find out how much you could save with Pie Insurance. Ask your agent or get a quote at ineedpie.com. That's INeedPIE.com.
Open Water Marine and Tuffy Boats are proud to bring you the Mike Peluso Outdoors Fishing Report. Tuffy boats have a storied history and are versatile for any body of water that you choose to fish. The affordable, no-nonsense, rugged, and durable design is why the Tuffy is the boat of choice for Mike Peluso Outdoors. Open Water Marine is pleased to bring you both the Mike Peluso Outdoors Fishing Report and Tuffy Boats. Join us every Friday between 4 and 5 on this station for the Open Water Marine Mike Peluso Outdoors Fishing Report.
Glenn Beck. California has just asked its population to not plug in their electric cars due to a energy shortage.
You're making our arguments too easy. Hey, they keep telling you to buy electric cars, and we keep saying we need more energy, and they're already telling you not to plug them in.
It's not a magic box in the wall. That's connected to most likely a coal fire plant or a nuclear plant.
The Glenn Beck Program. The Glenn Beck Program. Weekdays from 11 till 2 on Supertalk 1270. Supertalk 1270.
Talk of the town on Supertalk 1270.
All right, welcome back. You know, Marty's right. There's a lot of good conversation and things that go on in that break, isn't there?
There is.
You can't see it on radio, but you can definitely see it on our live.
Another
stream.
good
You just
thing-
can't hear it.
Another good thing about breaks, you can get rid of some coffee you drink.
Yes, you can. I had a 100-mile drive, so I had a
Yeah.
lot of coffee. So, you know, before we left, we were talking about a few things, but I think we need to lead in. We'll probably do this on the other side of this bottom of the hour break too.
Yeah.
But you guys think this is all just affecting AR-15s or certain firearms, or that it don't have much effect on the hunting or shooting community as a whole in that realm? Well, I'm here to tell you that this goes down all the way to just the simple fact of self-defense. It goes down to pleasure shooting. It might come down to your 22s or shotguns, and it really is going to affect the next generation in the shooting sports programs that are available. Like I can tell you right now, the trap leagues going across this entire country in high schools is amazing.
Yeah.
And I think, Jamie, didn't you find a little bitty article out there or something about this?
I did. Down in California. That's called Assembly.
Wait, California?
Bill. Yeah.
Imagine that.
They're all about freedom.
California. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Pick up the Duber and get high, man. All right. I'm not against smoking marijuana. I don't use it, but whatever.
Whatever.
It's called Assembly Bill 2571, a bill allegedly aimed at stopping gun violence in response to the horrific Uvalde, Texas mass shooting. So here's what it does.
There's that term, gun violence.
Yeah, gun violence. It's gun grabber. AB 2571 prohibits a firearm industry member as defined from advertising or marketing any firearm-related product as defined in a manner that is designed, intended, or reasonably appears to be attractive to minors. If anyone is found in violation of this statute, the civil penalty is $25,000 for each violation. Governor Gavin Newsom, huge leftist, proudly signed the bill into law and declared, those who are backing this industry can no longer market to our children. The idea that we have to do this is ridiculous.
Wow. He's got one part right. It's ridiculous that they did it. They didn't have to.
So, yeah, California Trap Shooting Club, they had to shut it down.
There you go.
Yes. What do they shoot trap with, Clayton?
Oh, man, it must be that evil Biden shotgun.
The one Joe said
This
they
is
have,
we
the
can
double
have.
barrel.
Yeah. Huh. So that one's not
good.
even good enough. So they're rejecting Joe Biden in California.
Yeah. Yeah.
See how we do that, guys? This is what mainstream media does. They take something, a narrative like that, and boom. So I just, can put this out there and say, well, they're rejecting Joe Biden. I didn't say what they're rejecting because that was his gun. He told us all to go get a shotgun.
And keep in mind, Gavin Newsom thinks it's just fine and dandy if they want to have some cross-dresser who's gender confused go in a classroom with their kids.
In front of your kids, without consent of the adults.
But showing them how proper gun use and how fun shooting a firearm can be is absolutely asinine to him.
I wouldn't want to have that. That's dangerous.
And the rest of them that vote anyways,
Yeah.
So there was remember the video of the guy he shot my arm off. He shot my arm off. And the old guy.
I do.
That was in his town in California, and then I was watching some video on it. It's local news station. There was interviewing people, and all these people were like, "Yeah, it's his right to do that." This, and I'm thinking to myself the whole time, "Yeah, but you guys keep voting in people to take your rights away."
Oh yeah, every time. And I think California, or I like to call it California, I think their biggest problem is it's kind of like what we're starting to see this here, guys. And I keep sounding the alarm. I looked at the last major general election. Yes, things went our way, right? But not in as big a margin as the 4 years prior to that.
Right.
And you got towns like Fargo, who are, as far as I'm concerned, they're a communist city.
Pretty much.
They're like little bitty Minneapolis. They're just a suburb.
They've been that way since I was a kid.
Just go ahead and annex that whole county in, and Minnesota can have them.
Yep.
They'd vote wrong anyway.
Well, they want all the Democrats from Florida to come up now, as we said earlier.
And I think that's happened in California. I mean, you got L.A., Sacramento. Just look at the big cities, and they control everything. And you get up into Northern California, them people are as conservative as us.
Yeah. You get closer to the mountains, they're more of a farming community.
Right.
And
one of the benefits I had working, for the National Rifle Association, I got to meet people from all over the country. And those folks there are some of the most diehard conservatives living. They're like prisoners of the state.
Yeah. Well, we got some people listening right now that are down there.
And if they're listening, hey, shout out
Appreciate
to
you guys.
The Misfit Patriots.
Love it.
Anyway, I can't say enough about how California has went so far, and then they're controlled by them great big population areas, and that has always amazed me too. Why they're so bad in them cities, but yet they keep flocking to them and keep reinsuring and reaffirming and reelecting these idiots.
What's the old saying about doing the same thing over and over? How's that? The definition of insanity and expecting a different result?
Doesn't happen, does it? Nope.
Obviously.
Doesn't happen.
I mean, it's a hard lesson there, but they don't learn it.
And that's why they don't want to teach history anymore in school.
Even a knuckle dragging right-wing gun nut like myself can learn that lesson.
Well, I'm surprised we were even able to get on air, but we figured it out, us rednecks out here.
Yeah. Maybe they haven't caught on to us quite yet, but
Maybe
they will.
Like I told you before, if I'm not on a list or two, I'm going to be kind of disappointed.
Everybody's on one. It doesn't matter. Everybody's, I guarantee you, somewhere.
And hopefully the cameras I have set up will give me warning before they come. I might have a few around the place.
Yeah.
Actually, that's just to protect the fuel and gas now.
Yeah. So the moral of that whole thing, though, is your shotguns, they're not approved of either.
No, it just proves that they won't be happy till they take each and every gun away from us, because you cannot control a populace that's armed. Germany did this. In fact, every single dictator that's ever taken over.
Except for the people in the Nazi party, they'd let them have one.
Well, yeah, because they were the controlling party.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah. No, absolutely. They go and they disarm the populace, but the controlling faction. No, it's rules for thee, not for thou.
So what was Saddam's party again? The Ba'ath Party, right?
Yeah, I believe it was.
Years ago when I played softball, and we had a couple of guys who were over there, and he said, the only people who had guns were Saddam's people.
Oh, I'm sure, because Saddam couldn't have.
And I said, what about now that that we've? And they said 1 AK is what they could have, and everybody could have 1 AK. So
I like Israel. You're handed basically a full auto. And you got to be part of the defense of the country.
They got some gun control there too, though.
They do, but when you look at what the different, it's just like suppressors. Think about Europe and how anti-gun and controlled Europe is. They don't have a constitution like ours, but yet you can go over to Europe or Africa on a safari and buy a suppressor off the shelf, like you would a pen or a piece of paper or a notebook over here. There's no restrictions. There's none of this tax stamp license and waiting 18 months for approval, because they look at it as a hearing protection item, which is what it is.
I did want to ask Brandon if any of his electronics came back there, but
next Monday.
Next Monday, yeah, for sure.
We shouldn't have cut him. I didn't realize, that was my mistake. We were going into the top of the hour
for an hour.
Oh yeah, I'd love to have him.
I could have him on for more than that, though. We had a good conversation.
We're gonna have to have him on our show as a guest.
Yeah, like you said, next Monday too. We're gonna hit it with him. I'm sure it'll be another hour.
Absolutely. But I think I'm gonna actually join you guys through our from home.
Okay, well, I'll be here. I'll come over and keep.
I haven't gotten any checks from Steve for gas yet, so.
Right. Some kind of card.
All right. Well, we're going into the bottom of the hour here. We'll pick this up on the other side. Call in 701-663-1270 with anything you want to talk about. And if you don't like what we're saying, I especially encourage you to call. This is Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270 Gun Day Monday. We'll see you after the bottom of the break.
Talk of the Town.
Supertalk 1270, broadcasting from the View Community Credit Union Studio. Good people.
Talking sports for Bismarck Mandan. Super Talk 1270. Welcome back to Talk of the Town on Super Talk 1270.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Glad you're listening in here. Call in 701-663-1270 for Talk of the Town. I'm Clay Pederson, joined by my guest host, Jamie Brecht over
Yes,
here.
sir.
We also have our podcast, Guns and the 701. You can find it on YouTube, Facebook. Hit Pederson M. Clay, Sturm Wesson, Buck Muley. Just, we're everywhere.
Right. Yeah.
It airs Wednesday nights, 6 o'clock p.m. Mountain Standard Time and 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. So we got something to talk about. As long as we're on California, I think you found us a little something
We're
else,
going to keep
didn't you?
swinging the sledgehammer on these guys.
Absolutely.
All right. So California actually passed a bill, Senate Bill 264. It's a ban on gun shows held on public property. That was passed and signed into law by clown governor-in-chief Gavin Newsom. All right. So the Second Amendment Foundation, they're the main person, that's the main organization that's suing California. There's a whole bunch of other ones. I mean, I'm not going to name them, but some I didn't even know existed. But it's let's see here. I'm going to go down a little farther. Okay, the state has been regulating gun show operations almost out of existence, which they just common sense law, just common sense.
Just
law.
common sense gun laws. We don't want to take your guns.
They
away.
try the same thing nationally to regulate gun ownership out of existence. They're trying to do it with this 256 on gun shows on public property. So this is just getting started. Public property. So the Second Amendment doesn't apply to public property now, Clay, or what?
Well, not for some people. And I've always had a problem with public property as the term. Let's call it what it is. It's taxpayer-funded property owned by the public. And if they start looking at it that, we own it, not them.
Yeah.
Why do we even let them tell us what to do?
Well, it was never stated in the Bill of Rights that,
No.
hey, you got all these rights, but not on public property.
The only property the feds were allotted was the 10 by 10 square of Washington, D.C., post office and forts. That's it. Now, I would even agree that forts could be construed as a military base to a point, but not, you take like an Area 51. I don't know if they meant that.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother rabbit hole.
But yeah, I mean, because public property is, like you said, we pay for it. And, while it might be dangerous, like if we have political gatherings and guess what? If somebody's insane or mad or just an evil person enough, they're going to do it. They don't. And the ones who don't have it, we're going to, you're the soft targets then.
And think about this, gun-free zones. That is the favorite place. You ever look at most of these things that happen? Where do they go? A gun-free zone, whether it be a school or a mall, and I haven't checked on it, but I'm pretty sure Kirkwood don't here. I bet you they still have a anti-gun policy.
Oh yeah. They didn't change.
Not that it's ever bothered me. I will always carry in there and they can kiss my butt. I really don't care. It's my right.
Right.
Now, if you want to ask me to leave, it's a private building. I'll have to do so. And you just go ahead and do that. But your sign don't mean nothing. And that's just it. A criminal, by nature and definition, breaks the law, has no regard for what it stands for or what its enforcement is, and they do as they please. And if they're a little bit cuckoo, well,
or
then
just
we see
evil.
what happens.
I think most
or
of them
just
are just
evil.
evil scumbags is what most of these people are.
Well, if you kill somebody just for no reason, you obviously are not a good person nor sane.
Yep.
And have zero respect for the sanctity of life.
So we're talking about public. We're going to talk about this new survey that came out here about, it says poll support for armed school staff swells since part. Oh, we got a caller in here.
I don't know.
But if we don't, we got a support for armed school staff swell since Parkland shooting. So
really, we got a caller.
All right. Well,
who are we talking to? Caller, you're on there. Who are we talking to?
Corey Merriman.
Hey, Corey, how are we doing? That's my neck of the woods down there.
All right.
How we doing today?
We're doing good. It's kind of overcast, cloudy, and I'm checking the waters for the cows because it's drier and crap out here. So
yeah, it dried up, didn't it?
Looking at the lake, though. So nice
perfect,
day.
Beautiful.
Well, I'm guessing you must have a question for us.
Well,
or a
more of a comment, or I don't know what you want to say it, but when are we going to stand up as private citizens and say enough is enough and get back to the original Constitution on how our country was founded?
Excellent question.
It's just, it's just overregulated and just so much. And when are we going to stand up and get our rights back and our freedoms?
Well, I can tell you one thing right now. It's closer than it's ever been. I feel that when I'm out traveling. I'm sure you feel it even where we live. Corey's down there, but South 11, South Dakota.
Okay.
So, over 100 miles away, and we're seeing it down there, even in our rural area. People are getting to their wits' end. And I think all of us, because we are sane people, we reason, we're not the evil gun owners everyone thinks.
Right.
We don't want to go to war. The last thing we want to do is go to war. That's, you know what? Nobody really wins. You might win that in a sense that we could restart. But the loss we will take, we saw this once. We had a civil war.
Yeah.
And we saw what it did to the country. And when I traveled down there, and Corey, you've been down there. I mean, we've been all the way. We won't talk about any gun laws we broke going across Illinois.
No.
But when you go down there, that war, it still has had profound effects, and it still is, and it's never going to go away. There is a deep, deep divide still down there with a lot of the people live down south, and it should be.
Talk to people in Georgia about Sherman's March.
Yes, well, and as Corey can attest, they don't call that a civil war. That was the war of northern aggression.
Yeah, that's
Now slavery was not a good thing,
obviously.
No,
and that happened to be an issue at the time. But it really come down to states' rights, and that is what it was about. The feds telling them what to do, and back then with their economy, it was based completely on that kind of labor. Like I said, I'm not saying that was a good thing, but at the time it did happen. And guys, if you want a history lesson, there were slaves owned in the northern states.
Yeah. You bet there
That's
was.
just the way it was. And they weren't all black.
Yeah.
Some black people owned white slaves.
Yeah.
So to this day, in fact, we're all slaves. We're all slaves to the government.
To the
because we
federal
have to
government.
pay taxes, which is taxation is theft. I mean,
Absolutely. And
it's just getting out of hand, ridiculous, and the government keeps overstepping and taking and taking and taking and it's all taxpayer funded. I mean, the government doesn't supply us with anything. All they get their money from is taxpayers.
right.
I mean,
they make nothing, produce nothing, and sell nothing, so they can't function
Exactly.
without taking it from us.
Well, Corey, here's
Exactly.
what Clay and I were having this conversation. I don't remember if it was before the show started or one of the breaks. I told him, we were talking about taking back the House and the Senate this fall, and I said, you know what? Here's what I think, Clay, is if we don't take back the House and the Senate, then I mean, we're circling the drain, because people, if they haven't seen enough of this garbage for 2 years to get rid of the people in the Senate and replace them with different people, I mean, then we're done. I think we're done. I mean, it's either we're going to have to lift our chin higher and get their boot on it, or fight back.
I think it's going to be very important, especially if the elections go wrong or they steal them again.
Yeah. Oh, they're going to try for sure.
Now, there will be a certain amount of time where apathy will still play its part, unfortunately. But there's going to be, and I imagine it'll be in the middle of the country, all the way from north to south, where the stand will take place. The east and left coasts,
they're gone.
They're gone. They're history.
How are you ever?
Yeah, they're lost already. I mean,
they
you can see that in day-to-day operations with the nonsense that comes out of California.
Yeah, we were
absolutely
talking
run
about
the rest of the country.
Hey,
that,
Corey,
they're trying to implement laws that shouldn't be in place for us rural people out in North to South Dakota.
Absolutely. Corey, can you hold on after this quick break? We'll finish off the show with you. All right, we're going to hold Corey over. We're going to take our last break. Want to call in 701-663-1270, and we're talking about constitutional rights, gun laws, and everything else. Catch us back on the other side of the break on Talk of the Town, Super 1270.
Talk of the Town.
Good morning. Market update on the Red River Farm Network. Grain markets continue to trade lower. Starting to see the wheat market come back a little bit in the winter wheats. Corn market also off its lows by about a nickel here right now. Right. The Ever Ag market analyst Cole Adams says several factors have traders just taking more of a risk-off type of attitude in this market today.
Weather, they're talking a little bit cooler and rainier weather here over the next couple of weeks. Everything's going to be eyes on for crop conditions again. Also, you got some China news. Overall, broad market as well. Oil's down $4 a barrel. Some economic issues as far as what could be coming out of China in the future. Everyone's just kind of risk-off day from grinding up quite a bit from last week.
The lean hog market continues to see a little bit of profit taking going on, while the cattle markets continue their push higher.
Weights have been starting to trend higher, which isn't out of the seasonal norm. Feeder cattle continue to keep pushing up higher, so everyone's trying to get their inventory booked ahead of the year, as this inventory is going to continue to decrease throughout the end of the 22 into 23 year, and live cattle are starting to come around too, to give us some good opportunities for marketing and protecting.
Cash cattle market remaining quiet here this morning, with bids and asking prices yet to be established. Cutouts expected to be higher on generally light box movement. Last week we traded cattle mostly 138 to 140, roughly $3 to $4.50 higher than the previous week. The dress business mostly 229, 230, $2 to $3 higher than the previous week. You're listening to the Red River Farm Network.
Fielding Questions is a podcast produced in collaboration between Ag Country Farm Credit Services and the Red River Farm Network. Ag Country Market Education Specialist Katie Tangen joins us to talk crops, markets, and the August USDA report.
The last 2 weeks of August seems to get kind of a lull. Like, what are we going to do now? It's pretty well set. We can't change things. But then also remember, it was a lot later crop this year. So we may get that lull closer to the first week of September, if not just a hair after. It does look drier. Obviously, this spring we had our own fair share of challenges. There was a lot of rain. There was a lot of wet areas. We were able to recharge some of that subsoil moisture in a lot of cases that we would have lost in the 2021 growing season. But we're also starting to see some dry areas creep up in specifically southeastern North Dakota.
You'll hear more in the Fielding Questions podcast, presented
Talk of the Town, brought to you by Mandan Sporting Goods, Dvorak Motors, we're your family for a lifetime. Big Boy, just get in line, it moves fast. Hit Inc., independence, dignity, respect. Hit Inc.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We still got Corey on the line. We were talking, government overreach and California, and the general rundown of liberalism.
So I got something to add there. Corey was wondering, when they're going to stand up. I don't know if you listened to the whole show, Corey, and we were talking about what John Rich said down Fargo in the beginning.
No, I just got in about an hour ago. I was able to pick up the radio station and get a good service to call in anyway.
Well, John Rich was doing a concert down in Fargo at their Valley Fair or whatever, and then he had the whole audience there before he sang, say the Pledge of Allegiance, and then he called the Fargo School District commies for doing the 7-2 ban on saying.
Well, I think I seen something on Facebook, but I didn't read the article on that. But
I did come up a little short on what I was saying. He actually did say that he thinks people should, one of the things to do, get out and start running for school boards, and we got to start taking over the local, common sense needs to take over the local stuff again, which I agree with 100%. I mean,
oh, absolutely. And I'll give Corey's credit when he lived in Lemon in town. Corey did serve as a city councilman. So Corey understands this.
He knows
4 years,
And that's the key, guys. You want change, you need to start there. The local level is everything. I'm running for county commissioner. Why? Because someone called me and said they talked me into it. But yes, people like us need to get out there and do it. Now, will you win every time? No. I mean, most people lose their first bid. But until we start getting on there, getting other people to join us and taking over and getting things back to where they were, this won't
common
change.
sense. I mean, it's just like nobody
right.
They believe what they see or hear. And there's no common sense.
None.
I'm not real educated, but I did go to a trade school and got a degree or whatever that I kind of use. But I'm back on the farm ranch, and
you probably use it more there than you would any place else.
So much BS out there. It's just
well, I agree with that, Corey, but the problem is what we consider common sense, the Democrats consider insanity.
Or we're tyrants,
you know what I mean?
or we're watch list people.
Yeah, we are watch. Yeah,
I can tell you this right now. To me, one of the most there's one board to me that's very important right now, and that's your school boards. And I'll tell you why. That's where the next generation of kids are. They're going to be us someday.
Yep.
Right.
And if we don't grab control of our school boards, and then when we get on that school board, kick the feds out of your school. Tell them to keep your money. Yes, there people are going to flip out because they have worked that into their budgets. Oh, what are we going to do without it? Figure it out. You didn't used to have it. There was no Department of Education, and we still educated people probably better than we do today. Just like college. We used to go to college without Pell Grants and student loans. So what happened? Well, again, people looked for the cheap, easy handout. They didn't want to work for it.
Right.
But we need to get the feds out of these schools, and then you can do the things you want. You can teach history as it is. You can teach constitutional rule, and that's where your change will happen. Do you agree with that, Corey?
Yeah.
All right. Well, looks like we got about less than a minute left here, Corey. So I appreciate you calling in. Feel free to do it next week.
Thanks for taking my call.
No
nice
problem.
Talking with you guys.
You bet. You too.
And
well, with that,
the conversation is out there. So I mean, just more people need to talk about it.
Yes, sir.
Start standing up instead of just sitting back and watching it go down the tubes.
Absolutely. Thanks, Corey. All right. Well, that's going to probably wrap it up here. I want to remind everybody, got to give a shameless plug. Guns and the 701 Wednesday night, every Wednesday night, 6 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time in the evening. Don't miss it. We're usually on for an hour or even a little bit beforehand. We're going to start sharing some videos. I think I figured out how to do that and some other things. But guys, tune in, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you get your live streams. With that, thanks for joining us today on Talk of the Town and Gun Day Monday. See you next week.
KLXX AM, Mandan, Bismarck, a Town Square media station, broadcasting from the View Community Credit Union Studio.